I keep wanting to get his ghost hunting folks to do an investigation into the Salt Witch in Nebraska. It's something that different tribes kind of told this tale of.
243.
And so we'll see what kind of traction we get with that. But I don't know how much the ghost hunters have gotten together since. Well,
It's been pretty scarce. The more kids I had, the harder it got. We lost people in the group, so it is what it is. But Chicken and I actually just did a revisited episode on Dark Side of the Fringe, touching on the Villisca Axe murders. So I think it's that's one of those that's going to reignite a bit of a flame. Did you hear me?
Nice. Well, if whatever it'll take to get a little bit of fire under that project, because okay, now Brendan, I went with Tony once on one of his ghost hunts, and it was enlightening. Okay, because the two people that came along, one guy I called Egon because he had all the equipment and he was gonna find, like, he had the stuff to trap the ghost, basically.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And then there was this one girl who like saw ghosts everywhere. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you said there was a ghost in that corner, she'd be like, "Oh my goodness, there's a ghost touching me." And if you said there's a ghost that'll kind of whip your hair in that room, she'll, "Oh my gosh, something touched my hair." And like, so for her, ghosts were everywhere. So like, and those are the two people who came along, and then it was me and Tony. And at one point I was wondering, is like, hey, am I a curious asshole or am I just a good friend? Like, I was like I kind of
but to be fair, like that's why I wanted you to come along, because at one point I knew, okay, we're gonna get away from all the other shit, and I'll at least get you into a situation where you can see it for what it really is. And I took you specifically to a room where I knew there had been activity the previous time I was there. And we sat there for not very long, surprisingly. And I was getting great EMF readings on the K2 meter where you'd looked at the piece of equipment. You knew it wasn't like some bullshit gimmick thing. And there's video footage of it. And I was getting interaction, and you're like, well, this is okay. So that's not exactly what I expected. So it was definitely, at least it wasn't a waste of time, because a lot of these things, it really depends on the person.
Now it also, all right, T, you know me, I always kind of look at things from a dollars and cents perspective. All right, now think about this. If you have the chance to buy a legitimately haunted house where people will pay money to spend the night in and go through,
I'm in.
Yes, but think about it. You as the property owner, you actually have an incentive not to improve the property. Okay, you like
Not
it's
true.
The only time where, well, no, if you do too much restoration, you ruin.
I've done
the
research. No, you're wrong.
Okay, Tony, you and I stayed at a derelict fucking loony bin. Okay, for a full night, we paid full price. Okay,
Bill, I know the score. I know. All right, but trust me, I know.
Like that, there is that moment where you have that realization that I just paid money to stay overnight in a derelict loony bin. Okay, and then you think, okay, who belongs in the funny farm here? Okay.